Hi, everyone, and welcome to AI in Education Integration and Interfaces. I'm Sean Foster. I'm a professor of 3D digital design at RIT and also the Center for Teaching and Learning AI Faculty Fellow. Let's start out by talking about AI in education integration. And this is a list of ways you could easily be leveraging your time with AI. So, what are some of the topics? Now, I'm going to list these topics, but I'm also going to connect these topics with videos I've already made on how to actually do these. So you could be using AI to generate syllabi, projects, rubrics, quiz questions, some grading, recommendation letters, help with grant writing, class discussion topics, and also information transformation. Specifically, I use it a lot for summaries and also making the information more relatable. Finally, I also have a video on how to generate GPT chatbots that can be specifically tuned toward the information that you want your students to get. Okay, what is this taking us? This is taking us on the road to personalized learning. Adaptive learning platforms are launching, and what does this mean? This means that the information is going to be much more individualized for the student. Tailored instruction is on its way, where we won't have students anymore who are either ahead of class, bored out of their minds, or behind and concerned to ask questions because they don't want to slow the class down. So we're going to get increased engagement, reduced frustration, and we're going to much better serve our students by meeting their individualized needs. Tutoring systems are part of that as well. Already, ChatGPT, there's a great example, and I'm going to include a link in the notes below, of the ChatGPT being used. This is Solomon Khan and his son using ChatGPT as a math tutor. And you can tune the GPT to not give the instant answers. And there's been some initial research showing how effective that is. There's also another example of one that's been existing for a while is Mathia, which is the Carnegie's Learning's math tutor. Some of the advantages of this are pretty obvious, right? They provide immediate feedback and assistance and also help students outside of classroom hours. It's also going to bring a huge amount of accessibility and inclusivity for our students. AI assistive speech-to-text, language translation for non-native speakers, making the information relatable. I mentioned this earlier. You can actually ask the information for a subject that sometimes might be really hard to teach, or your students' eyes glaze over, and say, make this relatable to, and then specify something you know your students will hook into. And I've gotten some really great examples in previous work that I've done with this. You can also adjust the difficulty of the material. So if you're teaching a class that you've usually taught at the junior or senior level, but you're going to be teaching to freshmen, you can adjust the difficulty just by using the AI and asking it. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to not have to iterate. You definitely will have to iterate with the AI, but it's going to increase the quality and save you a lot of time. As we move forward, though, one of the things that we really need to keep our eye on is the integration into systems and interfaces. What do I mean by that? Those previous examples were very point solutions. There were specific use case scenarios, whereas as we move to the future, the interfaces of AI are going to adjust and change and serve us in a much broader, more amazing context. It's going to change significantly how we work. Where are we coming from? We had previous systems like Siri, Google Assistant, and Alexa that would work with us, give pretty okay answers sometimes, give reminders and organizational tasks, timers, and sometimes navigation. Where we're going, though, is we're going into prompt engineering, and that was over the last year. And that's not a new interface. That was where we started. It was a text interface, but then there was a whole lot of work where you were given tips for how to work with the AI in order to optimize it to serve your needs best. And a lot of people came up with prompt engineering, like huge prompt engineering sheets. And I'm going to possibly do an additional video based on that because I still feel this is a very valuable. I'll put a link into one that I thought was pretty good for prompt engineering. I mean, ultimately, test and iterate and ask in different ways, provide context. These are just great starting points right here. So these tips. AI interfaces, where else are they being changed? Well, our ability to Google is being optimized. What do I mean by that? Well, in the past, we'd go to Google, but now we can go to a website like Perplexity AI. And instead of getting a link return that we'll have to click into to see if it's the answer we were looking for, Perplexity will try to give us the answer. And this is potentially disrupting Google's business model, but it's an amazing, great starting point. And Perplexity and other search, OpenAI, Search GPT, those are citing the websites that they found are providing the top answers. What else? OpenAI has a ton of threads, and it's worth mentioning this Echoes is a plugin that allows you to search your OpenAI discussion threads. What other interfaces are out there? Conmigo has a great interface, especially because it's geared for us, for educators. Let me go to the Conmigo website and just show this. Specifically, you can see there's different colors, and those colors can connect to your goal. So if you want to create a plan, you can click on here and filter these. And these will give you great starting points for working with your students. In addition, some of the other interface elements are built in. Conmigo is Khan Academy's AI, but it's been programmed. It's way more on rails and geared towards working with instructors. What do I mean by that? It has built-in capabilities so that the instructor can see how the student's actually interacting with the AI. And some of that functionality, then, if you have a student who hands in a report, and the professor can then look at, hey, how much did the student actually interact? Oh, not at all. Well, then maybe the student isn't doing enough learning. So this could be a really useful set of tools to keep an eye on. Let's check out some of the other ones. Other emerging interfaces. Claude Artifacts has been around for a little while, where it has a specific interface into the Anthropic Claude AI, have specific areas set aside so you can develop and iterate and work on a project. There was another plugin that I wanted to just cite since it went viral just the other week. Cursor is connecting with Claude and Artifacts for amazing coding support. So I wanted to mention that. Also, OpenAI Canvas, that just came out on October 3rd. That is an interface competing with Artifacts. Let's pull up their support page. Okay, introducing Canvas. There are so many amazing changes to the interface in OpenAI, and it's just going to allow better collaboration with ChatGPT. There's writing shortcuts that are suggested for marking up your page. There's coding shortcuts, and this is all built into the interface in a much more powerful way that will then allow you to, again, zoom into the type of support that you need to give you faster answers and to just let you be more productive. There's always something that's next. It's just definitely a great way of collaboration. And then Google has several Google Gems. And also I want to mention Notebook LM. So what is that? Connected to Google, and it's an interface where you can train it. I dropped in a PDF of the notes that I was going to use for this specific talk. And then it allows you to, it gives you certain suggested questions for asking the AI, and then it'll store those questions up here as almost like little note cards. In addition, one of the things that helped make this tool go viral is it created a podcast based on your notes. So it has two speakers. I'll just hit play for 10 or 15 seconds. And these two speakers discuss the elements in an interesting way.
Pop up that are changing the game completely.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're taking Professor Sean Foster's presentation on teaching Circle AI and pulling out the need-to-know stuff just for you.
Right.
But before we go full speed ahead, let's make sure we're on the same page. When we say AI, what are we even talking about?
Basically imagine like giving a computer a crash course in how our brains work. teaching it to learn, solve problems, and even make decisions just like we do.
It's interesting to hear this. Let's jump back to the presentation. There's a lot more to be said about multimodal AI, but I'm going to save a lot of that for some of the videos I'm going to publish in November. Specifically, this is one of my areas of focus, AI for 3D image and video generation, using it for design. But on top of that, I've used it for critique and in addition, image generation, image recognition, and there's a lot of machine learning built into 3D simulations, including some of the crowd simulation work. On top of that, what I meant by recognition, you can take pictures of things like balance sheets to code clips to visual images that you might want to say, hey, tell me what you think about this from an aesthetic standpoint. AI has an extremely robust and strong image recognition capability. Okay. What other multimodal capabilities? Voice and language, as well as personas. What do I mean by that? Well, you can have the AI speak multiple languages, have it practice with you. You can also then have the AI embody a certain persona, which then focuses the AI and also lets you converse with the AI as if it might be somebody who maybe a famous person you want to talk to about a certain subject matter. There's a lot of AI going into things like robotics training, digital twinning, and of course, for us, the learning management systems. There's already interactive dashboards in certain areas or plugins that are going into Moodle and Blackboard, as far as I could tell. And then I just imagine that all learning management systems will, in the very near future, contain AI integration, as well as data insights, which will just amazingly improve our ability to create that adaptive learning experience to serve our students better. Where are we going from here? This is the last slide. We are heading toward AI agents. Now, we talked about GPTs a little bit. The AI agents will take this one step further. These are agents that will autonomously pursue goals and go multiple steps down the road without extra human intervention. And I mean, what could go wrong with that? Well, possibly some things. So we need to be careful as we move forward, but I think we've got a really great start. Thank you so much for paying attention. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for weekly AI and education-based content, and check out some of the additional videos on all these subtopics that can help you save a lot of time and serve your students better. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.